भुनक्तु सह नौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। So tuberculosis, which was devastatingly rampant at the certain stage in Atlantean times, is nevertheless a disease which has been generated principally in our Aryan race. And one which we are bequeathing to the animal kingdom and sharing with them. So from humans it has spread to animal kingdom also. Unfortunate beings to be with humans. This is beginning to be realized. So close, however, is the relation between men and animals, particularly the domesticated animals, that they today share with men, particularly all his ailments, in some form or another. Sometimes recognizable, sometimes not. Recognizable and sometimes not. So these animals which live together with human beings we have to consider that they are unfortunate. Because the human kingdom has inflicted animal kingdom also, which were in the natural habitat, they are healthy. Now you see many horrible things with the animals. Very ridiculous things also. I know the female cats are operated for hysterectomy for cats. See how ridiculous idea, because of the unfortunate thing that the cat is residing with the human being. We are keeping the cats and dogs in our house, which is not their natural habitat, and we are giving all the type of artificial food to them also. Dogs and cats. And we are doing the same things what we do to our body, to them also. Hysterectomy to cat, can you imagine? I know this from Belgium. Because first time when I heard one lady, she came for consultation for the cat. And then now she came for her medicine and also for her cat. And then she told me that I got my cat operated for what? Hysterectomy to the cat. For me it was unimaginable. I asked her why. Oh, she is producing children frequently. So why do you keep her in your house then? Who asked you to keep her in your house? See? You see? You can.
And that's what it says because she's fluffy.
Huh?
Because she's fluffy, Jyoti says.
See? And the very funny thing, what I observed during my long experience of my visit to many of these countries, that it is equally because they should live in their natural habitat, then they will be happy. Those unfortunate beings are kept in the houses, and with our own conditions and artificial type of life, the food and all these things. Only for, and also very funny thing, they are more attached to the cat or dog than the family members, than their children. They don't want to be with the children, but they want to have a cat or a dog. It's very ridiculous. But now it is becoming more common in India also, because our Indian fellows are also imitating the same lifestyle here in India.
Also produce such a dog, French bulldog, which is small and head is very big.
Yes.
So it can't give birth naturally. Only cesarean, cesarean only. I was also very surprised when I found all the French dogs. This is
So that is how the animal kingdom is inflicted by the human kingdom. This is so close, however, is the relation between men and animals that they today share with men particularly all his ailments in some form or other. Sometimes recognizable, sometimes not. Curiously enough, the cause of this great white scourge is to be found in the fact of the shift of the life emphasis away from the emotional nature into that of the mind nature, producing a temporary starvation of emotional nature. So, emotion is not to be suppressed but sublimated. This always we have to understand clearly how to work with the emotion, because we have been studying that this emotion plays an important role in our health, and this emotion, how to deal with this. If we involve in this, then we are controlled by emotion. If we indulge or involve, we are controlled by the emotion. So our behavior, our transactions are based on only an emotion. Then, if we suppress this with force, then also we get into problems and disease. Suppressed emotion, misplaced emotion. Emotion, affection, all these things, when they are misplaced or suppressed, then we have many problems. So then what to do? Because it should not be suppressed. And it should not be involved. Then how to deal with this is by sublimation. Sublimation is like evaporation. So you have to work out with your emotion to make it sublimated. If you suppress this also, it is not good.
The question from the last year is as to how is it that
When you direct it, when you have emotion, then you direct it towards the soul, and then it is transformed from lower to higher, and it disappears. Because when you are involved in emotion, then the relationship between you and the other person is always the stress, because there will be anticipation and expectation. When you are dealing with other person is on the emotional level, it is associated with anticipation and expectation. Then you have disappointment and sorrow. If your dealing is only with affection and love, then you have no disappointment, because you are not affected by the behavior of the other person. You do not expect any reciprocation. You radiate your love, that's all. Then you have no damage. But only emotional, then you have all these things. You expect reciprocation, and when it is not there, then you are depressed, and then you get angry on the person. You see, so many changes. When you are making friendship with somebody, and then if you see, if the friendship is an emotional base, then if you see that this person is also making friendship with other person, then you feel jealousy. So all these things are because of emotional behavior. If it is only love, there is no question of jealousy.
Give an example how to direct it to the soul.
With other person with whom you are dealing, when you start dealing with the person, only projecting your affection and love in a positive manner, when your emotion is working, then you direct this in yourself, that you direct this to what is the inner light in the other person and yourself. You turn towards this discrimination. It's the same. And when you change this, it is like a shifting, a change. So with the other person, if you just ignore how the other person behaves, and you train yourself to only project just your love and affection, and in this process the emotion will be sublimated. It is the only way. So it is to be replaced. So for this you need a constant practice, constant application. So,
the difficulty is to not be ironic with your hands.
yes.
Because you have a feeling of superiority.
Yes.
And you have a little smile.
Yes.
And
Just what we have to remember, what we have to remember is we have to remember about when we are children, because when we observe children who are not very much affected by the influence of the parents, the children normally are allowed. So how they freely they can mingle with it, play with each other, and they don't have these disturbances. And we also, when we are children, we are also in the same. But we are grown into adults and got adulterated. Our minds get adulterated. So we have to make a retreat how we were in children. And then we can understand how we should be. Curiously enough, the cause of this great white scourge is to be found in the fact of the shift of the life emphasis away from emotional nature into the mind nature, producing a temporary starvation of the emotional nature. It is largely a disease of depletion. Cancer, in its turn, was based similarly on a previous shift of life force from the physical body into the emotional nature, producing an overdevelopment of cellular life. In cancer, what happens, what we call cancer, so what we call cancer is a rapid increase of the cells which is out of balance, and also decentralization of the energy. That is what you find when we are healthy. The energy will be distributed, which is flowing from the soul, will be distributed through one harmonious center of consciousness. And when you get into a disturbance which will be manifested as cancer, then what happens is, instead of one center which controls the whole thing, there will be more centers manifested on that level. Then what happens? The distribution of energy is dissipated, decentralized, and this makes the cells of the tissues excited, and due to this excitement they start to increase of the cells in a very fast manner. That makes the overgrowth, a rapid growth in unnatural form in that particular tissue. This is how it is manifested. So this rapid growth becomes an obstacle. This rapid growth becomes an obstruction. So this is an obstruction, and this obstruction is not only just a physical obstruction, but it is the result of the obstruction on the higher plane, on the vital plane. So the cause is higher. That is what is he explaining. And all this disturbance is because of the influence on the higher mental plane. According to homeopathic explanation, it is because of the miasm, effect of the miasms. So here, cancer in its turn was based similarly on previous shift of the life force from physical body into the emotional nature, producing an overdevelopment of cellular life through overstimulation. So why suddenly the cells of a particular part of the body or the tissue start overdevelopment is due to overstimulation on the emotional plane. I realize the difficulty of grasping these statements. That is what he says. It's not so easy to understand. I can only give you these substantial hints. Later discoveries alone can prove the truth of my suggestions. When this book was written, at that time it is still difficult, because later there are many discoveries about this, but at that time it is still. So even now, still many things have to be known to understand these factors. And here he has given small tabulation between the disease and the race and the body and the kingdom and the organ. There is another tabulation which is also very important. A small tabulation. It is small tabulation, not only 3-4 lines. Kingdom and organ. Syphilitic. Lemurian, and its body is physical. Mineral kingdom. Hexagons, sectors. Atlantean. Vestibular solar plexus. Apparatus through So syphilitic disease, the corresponding race source is Lemurian, and the body is the physical body, and kingdom is mineral kingdom, through which it influenced, and organ is sex organs, and the center of distribution of energy is sacral center. And for cancer, it is from Atlantean, and it is on the astral body, and the kingdom is vegetable kingdom. And organ is solar plexus center. Solar plexus, that is center. Particular organ is not given. And tuberculosis is Aryan, from the Aryan, and it is on the mental level. And animal kingdom, and breathing apparatus, it is the center is throat center, distribution of energy.
What is kingdom here?
Kingdom means which is the like a vehicle here. In referring about to the centers, I am referring to the center for the distribution of life force. From the above, it will be apparent where the emphasis of the possible cure will have to lie. Already, and because it is the latest, and therefore the least deep-seated of the three major diseases inherited by modern man, we have learned how to cure tuberculosis. It has been discovered that the sunshine and good food could cure, at any rate arrest the disease. Sunshine and good food could cure or at any rate arrest the disease about this tuberculosis. I will tell you an interesting, very interesting phenomenon about this tuberculosis disease, how it was dealt with on the physical plane. I told you about my grandfather, father of Master E.K. He was a very special, because he knew all this phenomenon, so he used to apply these higher laws of healing. He was famous as an Ayurvedic doctor. Doctor means not just